USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast. It is where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Black. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 339, and it's one of our prestigious Patreon poll-winning episodes. And we're covering the game that won our Nintendo 64 poll back in April, I think. It's been a while. Bomberman 64, baby. And it's kind of fucked up that it took 339 episodes to get to Bomberman for two reasons. A, Bomberman is a gaming icon, damn it, particularly a retro gaming icon, and he deserves his flowers, and I should have delivered them years ago. And two, I always say that I have no friends, which is why I never play the multiplayer portions of games, but this was back when I had friends, and we played the piss out of Bomberman 64. I like the 2D Bombermans as well. Frankly, I do like them better, but I have far more time in Bomberman 64 than I do in Super Bomberman or any of the other Man of Bombing games. And I've never had a ton of love for the Nintendo 64. I think that's pretty well documented around here. I still think that controller is a train wreck, and I will fucking die on that hill, but I stand by my claim that the Nintendo 64 might just be the greatest multiplayer console of all time. I know that you, like, maybe younger listeners are listening to that, and you're like, what are you talking about? Today on your PS3, 4, 5s, and your Xbox 360, blah, blah, you could play online with your friends anywhere, anytime, blah, blah. There is some magic back to sitting on the couch with three of your friends and arguing and fighting with each other and all that kind of stuff. It was good times. Picture this, friends. Close your eyes. It's 1998. Summer holidays. You and three friends have 4 different colored Nintendo 64 controllers, all with the rumble packs plugged in, and just a stack of some of the funnest party games of all time. WCW NWO Revenge, WWF No Mercy, the Mario Party games, Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, Smash Brothers, Pokemon Stadium, the Mario sports games, and of course, Bomberman 64. My friend Mike owned this one back in high school, and buddy, so many hours spent blowing each other up. You fucking weirdos. Just the best times. I actually didn't play, ironically, I didn't play a lot of the single player of Bomberman 64 back then. I never owned this game. I would just play it all the time at my buddy's house. But I bought a copy of this a few weeks ago, a physical copy for my Nintendo 64. It's one I've wanted to add to my collection for a while anyways. And I've been playing it like crazy to get ready for this episode. The single player definitely isn't as strong as the battle mode, in my opinion, but it's just a charming game all around. So, ironically, I'm solo this week to talk about a game that I only really played with my friends back in the day because the guys I used to play this with are all dead. Or sick or something. I don't know. I forget. Shout out to him when he gets that reference. But Simpsons quote aside, I have so much love for Bomberman 64. It belongs in my collection. It belongs in your collection. It is long overdue for an episode of Remember the Game, which, by the way, turns 7 years old tomorrow. Assuming that this gets out on July 2nd as I'm attending. Today is Tuesday, July 1st. Happy birthday, Canada. Canada Day. Awesome. July 3rd will be Remember the Game's 7th birthday. That's wild. So we at least snuck Bomberman in before we turned 7. Waiting any longer would have been a disgraceful slap in the face to a damned gaming hero. And we'll get to all that in just a minute, because speaking of a disgraceful slap in the face, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Listen, our intros are a little bit long. They're not that long. They're a little long, but they're fun. We talk video games and stuff, and they are way less bullshit than the final world of Bomberman 64, which, oh, God. Choking on my own rage here. I'll get into that fucking world in a minute. Quick note, if you like this show without ads, with timestamps, Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/remember the game. Subscriptions start at $3 a month, and you get the entire 339 episode catalog of Remember the Game, ad-free with timestamps. You also get a whole bunch of other stuff. You know that. If you're not listening over there, you want to skip ahead to just the game chat, go to about the 30-minute mark. And you should be into Bomberman 64 talk. Let me get my plugs out of the way. Give me 2 minutes. Helps how we keep the bills on around here. We have merchandise. You can find it all at rememberthegamepodcast.com. Shout out to my man Joe from 4545 Creative for designing it. It is awesome. And of course, the lifeblood of the show is, in fact, our Patreon. We publish 4 additional shows every week. None of them have ads. And you can start listening for as little as $3 a month. You can also write into the show, vote on the games we cover, join our 1,000+ member Discord, and you get instant access to literally hundreds upon hundreds of archived bonus podcasts that are already available as soon as you sign up. And most importantly, you even get a shout out and you get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm certainly going to do to... Actually, I don't think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to get all these this week. I think I'm going to, watch this. Watch this. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons. Nacho, Liam Wallace, Snail Jazz, Jay Crimson, James Adams, Trev Plays Games, and Tyler. Maybe Tyler, but I don't think I fucked any of those up. Look at me. Thank you all so much for the support. And welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find all of that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some free episodes over there for you to try out. And again, subscriptions start at $3 a month. We donate part of it to charity. And if you sign up for a year, we'll give you the 12th month on the house. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Moncal, who said, "Hey, Adam, you praised the 8-bit do controllers, rightfully so, for most of your retro gaming, but I had a question. D-pad versus joystick if you're playing a 2D side-scroller or beat-em-up. I'm 41 and cannot bring myself to use a joystick if I can help it. Let's play my NES Origins. Never had to worry about stick drift if you never used them. Even when I got into the PS1 and up, I avoided it. Do you use joysticks on modern platformers like the Messenger or Celeste? Even the legacy collections of Mega Man, Cowabunga collection, I stick with D-pads as God intended. Thoughts, questions, jeers? No, same thing. And that's, listen, if you are finding Mega Man or Classic Ninja Turtles or one of these old school games, if you're really chuggling with, chuggling, is that a real word? If you're really chuggling with them and having a hard time, make sure you're using the D-pad. And I gotta say, I don't find the D-pad on the Joy-Con, like the 4 dots, half as awful to use as some people seem to. But go D-pad. That's how they're designed to be played. I'm the same way. I got dragged into the analog stick generation, kicking and screaming. I still prefer the D-pad. I wish Bomberman 64 worked with the D-pad. It fucking does not. Makes me crazy, as we're going to get into in a couple of minutes. But I am team D-pad. And shout out to the 8-bit do. I will say, I don't know how the Switch 2 Pro controller handles. I had a Pro controller for my Switch 1, and I really like that controller for stuff like Mario Kart, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and things. I just hated the D-pad on it. My 8-bit do SN30 Pro Plus is the best controller I've ever owned in my life. It's a Super Nintendo controller shaped like a PS4 controller with that classic Super Nintendo D-pad, and that is just sick. Maybe it is our NES roots. I agree. But even the Genesis, like I've really grown fond of the Genesis over the years of doing this show, but I don't love the D-pad on that controller. It's probably great for like fighting games and stuff because you can go 45 degrees on it so much easier, but I prefer just that succinct plus sign. That's how 2D games are meant to be played. Agreed. Matt McLean says, "Hey, Adam, do you have a favorite Mario Kart World track yet?" It's a good question. I am going to be reviewing Mario Kart World on Expansion Pass tomorrow for all of our veterans. If you're interested, I'll give you my full thoughts and go through the game. To answer your question quickly, one of my I don't want to say big, but one of my criticisms of Mario Kart World is I'm not in love with the tracks. I don't find them half as memorable as I did the best Mario Kart 8 tracks. Yeah, but that being said, if I had to pick a favorite, I really like, and it's funny because I prefer the 3-track lap, like the 3-lap, just around the circle 3-time tracks as opposed to like the big intermission or whatever they're called ones. But I really like that final one in the Mushroom Cup where you're racing up the Donkey Kong girders at the end. I think that's probably my favorite track in the game, so at least off the top of my head so far. Mike is in Mike says, "What do you think the first Switch 2 Special Edition will be themed on? Then also, what would be your wish for a themed Special Edition Switch 2? With or without a new game to go with the said theme? Could you imagine Mega Man 12 and a Mega Man themed Switch 2? Oh, one could dream." I've never bought a Switch based on like a theme or anything. The only system I can remember ever buying because of the theme, I bought a GBA, the clamshell one that had that NES look to it, which was sick. And then I did buy the Spider-Man 2 PS5 because I'm a Venom simp. So I don't know if there's a Switch 2 special edition that I would buy because it's not cheap and I already have one. I'm a little surprised they didn't drop a Mario Kart one. I think the first themed one we get is probably Pokemon this fall with Pokemon Legends ZA. But maybe they have so many sitting in warehouses they need to sell first, like of the base version, that they don't have a themed one yet. I don't know. And so I think the first one will be Pokemon. And if I could pick one, obviously I'm a Mega Man sucker, so Mega Man would be pretty rad. Or else I would really like just like a Super Nintendo themed one. Like Super Nintendo Colors, Super Nintendo Dock, all that. The Super Nintendo is the Super Nintendo. It's super. It's playing with power, super power. Oroku Saki's Gardener says, good day, Mr. Blank. I took a dive into opening my own consulting business in 2025, and I've been enjoying the ride. Congratulations, buddy. I assume it's about gardening. You've had your business for years, so I just wanted to know, how do you feel about working for yourself versus having an employer? What are some quick tips you would tell people who are taking the plunge into being self-employed? I mean, I've kind of hinted at this a couple of times with my fuck you line stance for the last 7 years. But I love working for myself. I have had some good bosses over the years, but I just am that type. I'd always known I wanted to work for myself. I didn't think I was smart enough to run a business. I got very lucky with this. But I don't know. It's nice to not have anyone tell me what to do, tell me to cut my hair or trim my sideburns. I don't know what you think sideburns are. So I definitely prefer working for myself. It is more stressful, but in a good way. I like it. You know, the number one tip I offer to anyone that wants to be self-employed is just know that like you need to have discipline. And it's all kinds of discipline. It's not just discipline in the sense of not spending all of your money the minute it comes in. But it's stuff like just even me, like I have a pretty easy job. Cards on the table. I'm very fortunate. I'm aware of that, but like there are days like today, I'll be honest, it's Canada Day. It's Tuesday, July 1st. And I was like, I could have just released a Patreon episode today and been like, I'll do Bomberman 64 next week. Kind of just feel like taking the day off. We're going to go out this afternoon with the fam and fuck around. And I don't feel like working. And it's like, no, just sit down, just get your work done. And then it's okay. And so that would be the number one thing is when you don't have a boss telling you, hey, do your job or you're fired. It can be much easier to not do your job because you can't be fired. And I think anyone out there that's self-employed will understand what I'm saying. Sometimes you just gotta have that discipline to tell yourself like, no, just because there's no one sitting over my shoulder telling me to get to work doesn't mean I don't have to get to work. So if you want something to be your job, and I felt that way about stand-up comedy, and I feel that way about podcasting, and I feel that way about anything. If you want something to be your job, then you have to treat it like a job. If you still treat it like a hobby, it will always be your hobby. Yeah, that's fucking deep. That works. Yes, that'll do. Man of War says, Mr. Blank. That said, I would not take any business advice from me whatsoever. Man of War says, Mr. Blank, it's been a while since I wrote in, but I'll give it a shot right now. What do you think contributes to the fact that gamers recently just cling on to things to hate about games? I mean, there's so much hate going around now, and I don't understand. If you don't like something, don't buy it. I'm curious on your thoughts. Yeah, I don't think that's a new thing. I think that's been around for fucking years now. But you're right. It's just because I think it's two. I think one, it's just easier to hate, right? Like when you go on and look at reviews of stuff, like you have to make a conscious effort to go online and leave a good review for a company or a podcast or anything and be like, hey, I really like the job they did, or I like what they do. Whereas when you're mad at somebody, it's super easy to fire up your phone and just be like, 1 star, piece of shit, fuck them, fuck this place, fuck you, fuck everything. And I think it's the same way with games. So I think part of the reason people go on and they're so negative about games or wrestling or movies or TV shows or whatever is because it's just, I guess it's easy. Like, it's easy to just go online and be like, I don't know, I fucking hate this. Fuck you. I do it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't go online and bitch about things I don't like. I was bitching about Mario Kart World the other day and about how they hid mirror mode on the free roam mode because I don't like the free roam mode. So, like, I'm not above being negative myself as well. But you're right. Some people are just like, when you like, if you go back through your last 20 tweets and like 18 of them are just negative about something, then it's like, why are you even paying attention to that thing? Like, go find fucking something else to do. And then I think the other reason people are negative is for the contributions. What's the word I'm looking for now? Fuck. Like the shares and fuck, I'm such an idiot. What's the word? It starts, I can see it in my fucking head. Like the shares and the retweets and the, fuck. Do you ever do that? God damn it. Want to be negative? Let's be negative about fucking brains. You ever do that when you know the word you want to say, and then when you go to say it, it's like your brain is playing Wheel of Fortune with you, and it's like you've uncovered 2 letters, and now you're trying to sound it out, and I can fucking see it. God damn it. But anyways, yeah, I think some people do it just for the follows and the going viral and getting the hate. Like I tweeted the other day how much I hate the Nintendo 64 controller, which I have said since fucking high school. Okay, I've said that for almost 30 years. I don't like that controller. And someone retweeted me, who I don't know, and was just like, it's just become cool to hate on the Nintendo 64 controller in the last few years, which isn't true at all. Like, I mean, I've hated that controller since I was a kid. I just don't like it. And I was like, someone's just retweeting it because they're trying to get some likes and they're trying to get some fucking notoriety out of it. So I think that's the other reason, because the internet breeds hate. And I read a great book about how social media and stuff is like designed to just drive you toward things you hate. So you interact with it more and fight with people more, come back more, and that kind of stuff. So I think that's part of the reason people do it too, is I think the internet, much like a wet room breeds mold, the internet breeds hate, which is the internet's fucking mold. So I agree with you. Like, if you really hate, like, don't ever hesitate to criticize something, especially if you're a consumer. If you bought something, feel free to criticize it. But like, when everything you do, like, oh, this sucks about wrestling, this sucks about wrestling, wrestling sucks here, this sucks about wrestling, I'm like, then fucking don't watch it. Like, go do something else. Jesus Christ. Bad Zoner says, Dear Mr. Blank, I recently finished platinuming the Spyro trilogy, and I enjoyed listening to your Spyro 1 and 2 reviews. Just wondering if Spyro Year of the Dragon will be coming anytime soon. You'll be happy to hear that Moneybags, the stupid bear, gets what's coming to him. Good. That fucking bear. Someone else, maybe it was you. Someone DM'd me about this, Bad Zoner. Maybe it was you. But someone else asked me the other day if I'm going to cover Spyro 3 on the show. The answer is 100% yes. My dance card for the summer is pretty full. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I kind of posted up an idea of some of the games I'm planning to cover over the summer. But so I don't think I'll be getting to it in the next 2 or 3 months. But I really, really like Spyro 1 and Spyro 2, and I have every intention of getting to Spyro 3 at some point. I promise. I promise. You can hold my balls over the flame. We will cover Spyro 3 on this show before it's over. Unless I get canceled after this week or something. Then I guess not. Idahoju says, idea. Video games need a feature that summarizes what you were doing, where you are, and where you're going. A simple montage and brief reminder of gameplay. Think of any TV series when they start with a previously on. It would really help jumping back into games you put off and want to finish, but don't want to spend an hour just remembering where the hell you were, etc. Looking at you, most RPGs, Metroidvanias, and the like, it would certainly help reduce the backlog from hell we can all relate to. Use your powers, good sir, and keep up the great work. I don't know how easy that would be to implement because everyone's file is so different and everything, but I am a big fan of that concept. My God, would that ever make life easier? Oh my God. I had to restart my file on Cyberpunk because I hadn't played it in a year. Then I turned it on, and for the life of me, I could not remember where the fuck I was in the story, what was going on, how it played. A simple previously on would make such a big oh my God. I agree. I hate AI, but if we're going to use it, let's use it for something good like that. I agree. And finally, before we move on, it's letter time. It's letter time. Super Koopa says, Adam, after listening to the Contra 3 Alien Wars episode last week, it made me think of the way that games made you feel back then versus today. Back then, I always felt a sense of accomplishment from figuring out a level enough to get to the next area, or the super high in pride of beating a game. I'll never forget what 7-year-old me felt like when I beat Mario for the first time. Few games do that today, primarily indies like Cuphead. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, I still get, there's the inflated sense of self-esteem. I do still get that when I beat, like, a tough game, or if I beat a deep, long game, or 100% a game or something. But I will agree. Like, that's part of the reason I like going back to games like Castlevania, Batman, the Mega Mans, those types of games. Because I love that frustrating Rubik's Cube of solving it and figuring out the patterns and the strategies and what to do. And I think nowadays with the nonstop tutorials, hey, do you need some help? Here's a power-up item. The YouTubes and the walkthroughs everywhere, being able to show you what to do, the being able to summon other players in to help you and stuff. I know not everybody does it, and I throw no shade at anyone that looks stuff up. I've kind of loosened my stance on looking stuff up over the last year because I've realized, like, when I'm playing a game for the podcast, I would always try not to look up how to beat something because I love that inflated sense of self-esteem by beating it myself. And then I kind of just realized over time that, like, that feeling only lasts me for a few seconds. It doesn't impact the review at all. By the time I'm done the game, I don't really remember. And it can save me like an hour of just running my head against the wall to just look up where in the fuck is this key or something like that. So I do it now as well. No shade being thrown at anyone that does that or uses save states or uses rewinds or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter to me. Play your games however the fuck you want. Play them on any difficulty you want. Fuck the haters. That being said, yeah, it doesn't hit as hard as it did back in the day. I agree with that. And I don't, and maybe, I wonder, is that even got to do with like when you're 7, what have you fucking accomplished in life? Like I'm 41 and like I own a house and I have a girlfriend and, all that, like people have kids, like fuck, I'm not much of an adult, but some of you have like kids and real businesses and careers and stuff like that. Like, so maybe just that sense of accomplishment just isn't there like it was when you were a kid and you're like, all I've done is I got a B on my book report and then I beat Contra. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. It just doesn't quite hit the same. Anyway, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for all the submissions. We got to keep rolling. I'll get to a few more on the Rambling Idiot this Friday in our Left Blover segment. But let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1. And a huge thank you to Class and Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. This week we're talking Bomberman 64, so I went with 3 other Nintendo 64 multiplayer legends, and that is GoldenEye 007, WWF No Mercy, and Super Smash Bros. And a whopping 45% said play Smash Brothers, remake GoldenEye, and erase WWF No Mercy. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. And this was the most comments we've had for Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1 in a long time. Over 100. So I struck a nerve this week. So let's see what some of you had to say. Eric M. from Parts Unknown. So let's make this simple. Play GoldenEye as it is so of its time as to be considered a heritage site. I'm sorry. I've said this before, but sometimes it's not that you guys word things wrong. You just word it differently than I would word it. And then as I try to read it, my eyes move faster than my mouth and I get all fucked up. Eric M. from Parts Unknown says, let's make this simple. Play GoldenEye as it is so of its time as to be considered a heritage site. In my day, kids, we all had to be in the same room to play multiplayer games. Remake WWF No Mercy as it plays awesome and a sprinkle of updated graphics, roster, and modes will create the ultimate wrestling game, tough guy. Finally, erasing Smash Brothers with no hesitation or regret. I have tried every iteration and bounced off all of them. Give me Tekken or Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter over this 4-player clusterfest. Replace fest with another 4-letter F word. Oh, Eric, you can say fuck around here. It's okay. Fuck. Clusterfuck. Fuck. Unless, what else did you meant? No, it was fuck. You threw me off when you said give me Tekken or MK or Street Fighter because I was thinking Mario Kart. And I was like, what the fuck? But that's Mortal Kombat. Jeff Leopard says, a dagger to the heart right here. Play No Mercy. It's almost perfect, and I don't want to see it messed up with a remake. Remake GoldenEye. Update the controls and make it pretty to look at, but don't change the formula. And then erase Smash Brothers because we live in a society and we have rules. We do. Listen, I didn't want to erase any of these either, so I'm on the same page as those that struggled for an erase. Mario's Baby Batter Pancakes says, in high school, we used to drink 40s and play 007. Fond memories of my first co-op first-person shooter, so I cannot delete it, but it didn't age well. So keep Smash Brothers, because it did age well. Remake 007, and I don't even like wrestling, so I'm going to say goodbye to No Mercy. And, I almost put Mario Kart in there instead of No Mercy, because I was worried that with people that don't like wrestling, it's a layup, and it's an easy erase. And we did run into a lot of that, which, fair enough. I don't have a problem with that. Cody Thompson said, what a runaway victory. I'm playing Smash Brothers, perfect Nintendo 64 party game. I'm remaking 007. Only thing I'm adding are the game modes we made up as kids in the multiplayer section. Our favorite made-up game mode was called Castle. And I'm erasing wrestling because I would wait until the SmackDown games came out. Oh, that's spicy. Because I think No Mercy runs circles around SmackDown. But I like SmackDown. That's an interesting take. And Boo Earns said, play 007. I recently played this with my kids and they loved it. I taught them the joy of placing a proximity mine in the toilet in the facility level, so when another player respawns, they instantly die in the toilet. Nice. Remake No Mercy is part of next year's WWE 2K series. The whole game will have everything modeled after No Mercy, but with updated graphics and rosters, and erase Smash Brothers because there's always another one right around the corner. That's fair. Now, not a lot of you erased GoldenEye. And that seems a little bit crazy to me. Like, and I listen, I got mad love for GoldenEye as well. But I'm going with 15% of you that did erase GoldenEye, as did Silver Archangel, who said, interesting set this week. Play Smash Brothers. Not because it's my top choice to play, but because I can't risk the timeline getting warped. This and all future Smash Bros. Games are a ton of fun and must buy every iteration. Remake No Mercy. This is the only era of wrestling I have any knowledge of, and it's a great game. Add it to the Switch library and flesh out the roster a bit, add some more theme music, but keep the gameplay and graphics, and then erase GoldenEye. I know what it did for console shooters and the Nintendo 64 in particular, but maybe without this, more people would know and love the vastly superior Perfect Dark. Pretty similar logic. Pretty similar. Not quite, but pretty similar logic. I'm going to play Super Smash Brothers because between me and you, listener, don't tell everybody. Don't tell the rest of Hot Dogs. I've never played it. I've played Melee, I've played Brawl, I've played Ultimate, but I have never played the Nintendo 64 Smash Brothers before. And I have to, don't I? I have to. Eventually, I got to try it. I got to see. So I got to play that one. And then I'm remaking WWF No Mercy because, come on, it's like in my 10 favorite games of all time. You're not touching No Mercy. And then I'm racing GoldenEye. Well, I have great memories of playing GoldenEye. Trying to play it now with that controller makes me fucking just like borderline have a goddamn seizure. It just drives me crazy. Perfect Dark is a vastly, vastly better game. It's kind of aged like milk. Great memories. And again, there's no official rules on what happens when you erase a game, so I'm saying I can keep my memories. I'm just going to erase GoldenEye because I don't ever want to play it again. That's all. Thank you, everybody, as always, for writing in. What have I been playing over the last week? And then we'll get into Bomberman, mostly Bomberman. I've played a ton of Bomberman 64 over the last 7 to 12 days, which I'm about to tell you all about. I'm still working through Doom the Dark Ages. It's really, really good. Like, I really like it. I never feel like playing it. And then whenever I do play it, I put like an hour and a half into it and have a great fucking time. Gonna be reviewing that one soon on Expansion Pass. Playing a little bit of Crazy Taxi, which will be, and I've also been playing Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. Really liking both those games. I haven't played 3D Land in forever. Never played Crazy Taxi. Those will be the next two Remember the Games. I'm not sure which order they're going to go in, but those will be the next two Remember the Games. And then, of course, I've been playing Mario Kart World, which I'll review tomorrow on Ye Old Expansion Pass, right? So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take a break here, sip some coffee, let a sponsor in to peddle their wares, and when we get back, it is Bomberman 64 from here to infinity and beyond. Okay, we'll be right back after this. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention, but when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. All right, let's get into some Bomberman 64. Now, the tricky thing here is that normally when I'm rolling solo on an episode, I like to take listener comments and drop them into my review. But I didn't realize I was going to be rolling solo until after I wrote the intro script. So I can't work your comments into my review because I've only got a few of them. But I'm going to rip through some of them, and then I'm going to sound off on Bomberman myself. Osama Bin Laden said the Bomberman games in general are gems. The 64 version is second only to the Sega Saturn version. Sorry, Adam. I'm certain the 4 controller ports were designed with this game in mind. Hours upon hours of fun were had. I swear it forced me to find more friends just to have people to play with. I can't speak to the Sega Saturn version. I do personally prefer like top-down 2D like Super Bomberman to Bomberman 64, but I will agree like this was the epitome of a game designed for that 4 controller port system. Like it was I have a smile on my face right now just thinking about my memories of playing Bomberman 64 with my friends. Just hours and hours and hours. Oh, the team-ups, the betrayals, the allies. Oh, my God. Huge S said, I fucking love this game. The memories of sitting down with friends and family on multiplayer. So many laughs. One of the best multiplayer experiences on the 64, and that is high praise. Single-player story had some surprising depth and challenge, too. All around, superb. The single-player mode definitely has some depth and challenge. I don't know if I'd call it superb. It is charming. Fuck, it made me angry a few times, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Chris Sticks said, single player? I don't think I got past the second level as a kid. It was okay, but as I remember it, the controls were tough and it was pretty unforgiving. It was a pretty unforgiving 3D adventure. It was. No, he's like, I was 11, so maybe not. No, it was. It was unforgiving. But man, did multiplayer slap hard. It got so frantic with the giant bombs and sudden death scenarios. I wish that I wasn't 40 and had friends that could still play a game. My uncle and I put many hours into the multiplayer, destroying each other and cracking up about it. Core memory for sure. Nick Finnegan said, I love Bomberman on the SNES, but 3D Bomberman just did not click with me. I think I might be the only person who doesn't like Bomberman 64. You know what, Nick? You might be. I know because I just said that. People are going to leave comments being like, I don't like Bomberman 64. But the comments were pretty positive toward this game. Detective Beans, we're going to wrap up with, who says, back in my childhood, we had 2 entire shelves dedicated to our 64 games in gray boxes. Bomberman 64 and Bomberman Hero were some of my favorites. The first one I remember being fairly difficult, especially the final levels. Never did figure out how to get to that final secret boss unless that was a mod. Multiplayer was super fun. Spent hours playing up on those modes and all the stages. Shout out to the pyramid stage. The hurry up voice when you were almost out of time lives in my memory rent-free. Loved this game. That hurry up voice, the first time I fired this up and played a battle and that voice came on, I was like, oh, that takes me back. That's like listening to an old load up chime you haven't heard in forever, man. Holy fuck. That's good times. Bomberman 64, baby. It's time to talk about it. I'm rolling solo this week. I'm going to queue up some Bomberman 64 music. And when it stops, I'm going to take it back to December 3rd of 1997 and talk Bomberman 64. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right, let's get into the old Bomberman 64. You know what's funny? We're at 339 episodes. It's getting hard for me to, that's what she said. It's getting hard for me to come up with games that I could mostly review off just nostalgia. Back in the early days of the show, that's all it was. Like, I'd replay a lot of them to get ready, but I could go just off memory. And there's very few of them now. There's still tons of games that I've played that I'd like to review, particularly from the Xbox 360, PS3 era. But I only ever played through each of them like once, you know, like, so I need to do a replay of them. And some of these are 15, 20-hour games before I can review them. But there's Bomberman 64 is one of those rare ones that, like, had I not bought myself a copy and replayed it to get ready for this episode, I think I probably could have just gone off memories. Mostly multiplayer. I didn't play a ton of the single player. Like I said in the intro, I never owned this one growing up. My buddy Mike did. I would borrow it from him occasionally, mostly just to go into the adventure mode and grind looking for new outfits for my little Bomberman. But most of my time with Bomberman 64 was spent in the multiplayer. Now that I've spent a better part of the week working on the single player game, I can talk to both. And I'll start with the single player because I don't think it's half as good as the multiplayer. Like I said, I don't have a ton of experience with Bomberman. I did play like the 2D ones and I liked them. We used to rent them once in a while and fuck around with them. I never owned one before though. I just always loved the concept. If by some fluke you're listening to this and you've never played and aren't familiar with how Bomberman works, I guess I should have gotten into that half an hour ago. But if by some chance you've never played one, Bomberman is this little guy in like a white space outfit who I don't know where he gets his bombs from, but he's able to summon basically infinite bombs. And when you play it multiplayer, the whole concept of the game is there's you and up to 3 other players running around, and you're dropping bombs, trying to blow each other up. And while you're trying to blow each other up, you can also be blown up by your own bombs. So it becomes a little bit of a strategy there. And you're blowing up bricks and rocks and stuff, trying to find power-ups. And the 2 major power-ups you can find in most Bomberman games, including this one, are you can find extra bombs. So you might start with the ability to only be able to lay 1 or 2 bombs at a time before they explode. And then as you pick up more bombs, you can lay 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. And then you also can pick up these little flame power-ups, and they'll make your explosion bigger. And so then you'll make a bigger, obviously bigger explosion, kill more things, blah, blah. And then there's stuff like you can get a detonator to be able to set your bombs off whenever you want instead of them just going off after a few seconds. You can get the ability to power up your bombs and make them more powerful. Not like the size of the explosion, but the actual potency of it, which really only matters in single player mode, I think. I don't know how much it does in multiplayer mode. At least in this one, like in some modes, you can get a heart that'll buy you a second hit and stuff like that. But that's the basic premise of the game. And multiplayer is where Bomberman shines. So we'll save that for the second half of the show, because I have a lot more positive to say about that than I do the single player mode. This one does have like an actual campaign. There's like a story and everything. There's like a whole bunch of planets that are just like living around, being happy. There's like one is like an ice world, one is a fire world, one is just gardens and stuff like that. Life is good. And then a whole bunch of these like space creature things invade, and they're draining the energy from the planet, turning everything into zombies and killing everything. And they end up chaining all of these planets to like their major planet. And so then Bomberman sets out to kill all their bosses and release it from their like mothership and set them free and blah, blah. That's the basic gist of it. Like, I'll be honest, the story doesn't carry a lot of weight. I wasn't able to beat this game. I did look up the ending, and it turns out there is a twist where the tutorial guy turns on you, but I could tell the tutorial guy, the guy that's helping you, was going to turn on you the whole fucking time. And I can reveal, and I'll tell you how I knew that as I get into these worlds, because there's a fucking blatant giveaway that there's no way anybody that would be an actual ally to you would pull a trick like this fucking bastard pulled. So that's the basic gist of like the story of the adventure mode. And all you do is you set out and you go into each world, and there's like 4 levels, and there's 2 levels that you're going through an actual level trying to find the exit to that level, or in some cases you need to like hit a couple of switches and release like a diamond or something like that. But there's like a basic objective. Most of them you're just trying to find an exit. So you're just walking through these levels that are made up of like different sections that have to load as you go through, because it's Nintendo 64 stuff like that. And you need to find yourself an exit, killing enemies, and there's collectibles and stuff we'll get into, but that's the gist of it. And then there's also a couple of boss fights in between as well. Like in the second level of every one, you'll fight kind of an evil looking Bomberman that's one of like their henchmen in a quick little battle mode type fight. And then you'll fight like a big boss at the end. And if you can kill the big boss, then you release that one from the chain. And once you release all the islands, then you go to the final world and fight them. You can find these collectibles in the world. Each world has 5 golden cards. Like, they look like blank playing cards. There's 5 golden cards in them. And my understanding, as far as all I can tell, is you need to get a certain number of them to unlock, like, the last world, and you need to get all of them to unlock, like, the last boss. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what you have to do. Like I said, I was unable to beat this entire game. Like, I could not. I got all 5 cards through the first like 3 worlds. I got almost all of them in the 4th world, and then shit went completely off the rails when I got to world 5. I kind of ran out of time, and to be honest, like, I just wasn't having that much fun with the adventure mode. Like, battle mode is where this game is meant to be played. These cards you need to collect, which, by the way, like, is that not just the Nintendo? That's the Mario. Like, I'm not even that big of Mario 64 fan, so this isn't me being the fanboy that I am. But, like, it's just the Mario 64 formula, isn't it? Go around these worlds and look for something that's, like, gold, and once you find enough of them, then you open up the next... Like, it's... I guess it was done before then, but it just feels like the Mario 64 formula. So anyways, in the normal levels... you start out with just your basic Bomberman. You can drop like 2 bombs. They have tiny little piddly explosions. And then while you're fighting enemies and destroying them, you're also exploring. And a lot of the exploration is just blowing stuff up. You can blow up fucking pillars, statues, walls, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of an experiment to figure out what you can blow up. And sometimes when you blow stuff up, they'll drop the same power-ups I mentioned earlier that you can get in the multiplayer mode. You might find extra bombs, or you might find the firepower to increase the size of your explosions. You might find the detonator. You might find that item that makes your bombs more powerful, which you need to blow up certain walls to find certain collectibles and things like that. So it's worth exploring. It's actually, to me, that's the funnest part of the adventure mode. It's just exploring and blowing up everything, trying to find 3 golden cards, because of the 5 that are hidden in each level, 3 of them are just hidden in things. And usually they'll just be in like a rock you need to, like a boulder you need to blow up, or like, especially in the later levels, sometimes you actually need to find the hidden item. So there'll be an item hidden in a rock that will power up your bombs to like level 2 bombs. That turns them red, and their explosions will be bigger. And then you need those red bombs with the bigger explosions to blow up something like a metal door, for example, that'll then let you get into a room where there might be a hidden gold card. So there's a lot of exploration if you really want to find all of the cards, which I think is the most fun part of the game. And then another thing you can find when you're blowing up walls and rocks and shit like that are costumes. Because when you go into the multiplayer mode, you can dress up your Bomberman. You can change their head, their torso, their feet, and their legs. And there's all kinds of different costumes. Like, you can make them match and make them like a knight in shining armor. You could give them like a dragon head with fucking sneakers and cat paws. Like, you can make, and that was always the funnest part to me, was just dressing up your Bomberman, because I have an eye for fashion, as they say. So like, I really enjoyed doing that. But I think that's where adventure mode shined, was the exploration and looking for those 3 golden cards. But there's 5 in every level. 3 were hidden. You would get a 4th one if you were able to beat the level in under a certain amount of time. There's a timer running in the corner, and they'll tell you what the target time is. And as long as you can beat the level, it doesn't matter what you do, what you collect, anything. As long as you can get to the exit of the level before that timer hits its, the breaking point, wherever the par is, then you'll get a 4th golden card. And then you get a 5th golden card from each level if you're able to kill 30 enemies. When you kill your 30th enemy, they'll drop a gold card. And then that's the 5 you get in a normal level. So 3 from exploration, 1 for the time, 1 for killing 30 enemies. And I'm sure there are speedrunners out there that can do it. I am not a speedrunner. I'm not particularly good at this game. I found it impossible to get all 5 cards in one level, in one run on those levels. But frankly, just the trying to find and kill 30 enemies while trying to do it under that time limit, I don't know. I guess maybe you could cheese like respawning and hanging out a couple, like find the right area where they're going to keep respawning and blow up a ton of enemies and get it that way. But I was never able to do it. So my piece of advice to a new player, and what I would recommend, is go into a level, and if you want to explore, and because you're probably going to have to explore a little bit to try to find the exit to that level, go ahead and explore. And if you find a gold card or 2 hidden in boulders and shit, awesome. Pick them up, take them with you. But my recommendation is just find the path to the exit of the level, because these aren't running left to right. Like, these are 3D levels. You can move Bomberman in 8 directions. You can flip the camera around in 8 different directions. And there is no simple, like, go from point A to point B to get out of the level. Like, in some of the snow levels, you need to get on like a ski lift to get out. But to get on the ski lift, you have to find a switch that will activate the ski lift somewhere else in the level, then come back to the ski lift. And there's one level where you need to find a switch that'll drop a giant drawbridge, and then you can get across the drawbridge. And there's nothing indicating, well, I guess there is, in some levels, there's an indication of where the exit is, because it's like the enemy like symbol. Kind of looks like the Foot Clan symbol. But then in other levels, there's really no indication. You just kind of run around, and eventually you'll figure out where the exit is, because you'll have to do something to trigger the exit, and then a green arrow will appear and show you where you have to go to get out of the level. And so I highly recommend your first run through, just explore a little bit, find a card or 2 if you want to, get to the exit and get the fuck out. Doesn't matter if you kill all 30 enemies, doesn't matter if you get there in the right amount of time, just get to the exit, and then you'll know where the exit is. Once you know where the exit is, achieving the par time to get that gold card, very, very simple. It's almost always like a really quick run. You can get there, and that's all well and good. Where I struggle the most is, like, you start the game with, say, 3 lives. And when you lose all 3 lives, then you can continue, but you lose any progress you made. So like, let's just say like whenever you hit pause, you can see how many enemies you've killed. And let's say you're up to like 26 or 27 of the 30 enemies you need to kill to get that gold card. And then you've already died twice. And now you're on your last life. Now your ass starts to clench because you're like, fuck, I've been grinding for like 7 or 8 minutes trying to kill 30 enemies. I only have 1 life left, and 1 hit will kill you unless you happen to find a heart power up. And so like 1 bomb poorly placed that blows up and touches you will kill you. One of some enemies, like if they get a hold of you, they will kill you. In the later levels, it is insanely simple to walk off the side of the edge and die, which is, I'll get to in a minute, because that's where that fucking controller makes me so fucking angry. And then you've died. And then once you get game over and you've run out of your 3 lives, doesn't matter. Here's the thing. You could have killed 30 enemies and gotten the gold card and gone to the 3 hidden cards because you knew where all 3 of them were and collected all 3 of the hidden cards. If you die and lose all your lives and have to continue, you go back to square one on that level. None of the cards you've collected have been collected. None of the enemies you killed have been killed. Like, the only time it saves your progress and actually logs the cards you collect is when you get to the exit of the level. And so that's why I don't recommend, like, it's up to you. If you think you're good enough at the game, go nuts. But in the last couple of worlds, man, that fire world and the ice world, not to mention fucking world 5, which I'll talk about in a second. When you get to the fire and ice worlds, like, I would constantly make the mistake of taking 10 or 15 minutes running around in a level, finding the 3 hidden cards, killing 30 enemies to get the 4th golden card. And then I'm like, now the only thing left to do is to beat the level in time, which there's no way I'm going to do while I'm also doing all these other things. But that's fine. I'll just beat the level. I will save the 4 cards I found. Then I'll come back in, do a quick speed run through the level, get the 5th card, and I'm out of here. And then I would die and lose my last life. And now the 3 cards I found go back to where they were hidden. The 30 enemies I killed and the card they dropped go back to 0, and I got to kill 30 more enemies. And it was so goddamn infuriating sometimes. Like, my playtime on my file is like 6 hours. I put well over 15 hours into this fucking game. Just dying and dying and dying and fucking dying and fucking dying. So like, as soon as I got the 30 enemy card, I was going for the fucking exit and get the fuck out of there, which I already knew where it was because I made the right play of just going through and finding where the exit was. Then I get the 30 enemy card and get the fuck out of there. And if I picked up any other ones, great. But I didn't. It was such a fucking grind in some of these levels to have to kill 30 enemies. Then go back and collect the 3. So that's where you get the 5 cards in the levels that are just basic levels. And then whenever you fight a boss, there are 5 cards to get as well. And you get 1 card for just beating the boss. You get 1 card for beating the boss before the target time again. And then there are 3 cards that you'll get, and you kind of just have to... I actually found it very easy to get them, but I did have to look up a couple on how to find them, and you really just have to damage the enemy. Like, when you're fighting the little Bomberman clones, you might have to hit one with a powered up bomb, because one thing you can do, and that's where I'm going to show you that ally of yours is a detractor in just a second and a fucking hater. One thing that you can do is you can actually pick a bomb up, and before you just drop it on the ground and it explodes, you can hold a bomb in your hands and pump it up, and it'll get like as big as a beach ball. Then you can throw it, and then when it explodes, it makes a much, much bigger explosion. And so to get one of the hidden gold cards from these like little Bomberman bosses, you might have to throw a pumped up bomb and land it on their head, and then it'll like knock them down. When you fight the big end of level bosses, like there's a big blue dragon, there's a giant fish you fight on a raft, which I thought was the coolest one. There's like a big ice spider. When you fight these, there's like a big machine in lava. When you fight these bosses, most of them you just have to like the dragon, you have to hit its wings with pumped up bombs, because then it'll burn their wings. And burn their tail. Like, it's a lot of that. You just have to hurt like certain parts of their body to get the hidden cards. So I didn't find getting the hidden cards against the bosses too difficult. I did find beating some of the bosses by the end of the timer difficult, because every time you go to fight a boss, your ally robot there, what's his name? Starts with an S. It's not Sirius. Hang on, I got the Wikipedia page here. Oh, it is Sirius. God damn it. Okay. Just like Sirius XM, Sirius. So like Sirius will come in and give you a bomb detonator before you fight the bosses, so you have control over when your bombs blow up at least. But I still found them difficult to beat by the timer, because some of them you just kind of have to get lucky. You just have to pump up a bomb, throw it in their general direction, blow it up where it's far enough away from you that it won't hit you, but close enough to the enemy to hit them. And sometimes I'd kill a boss in like 30 seconds, and sometimes it would take me like 5 minutes to figure out the timing. Dude, when you fight that blue dragon and it keeps flying underneath your bridge, it took me forever to figure out the timing of when to throw a pumped up bomb over the side of the bridge and blow it up in the air before I finally realized that you could just blow it up and let the dragon fly through the explosion, and it would hurt them. You didn't have to actually explode it when the dragon was going through. So those are like the 4 main worlds. There's 2 levels and then 2 boss fights, and you can get 5 gold cards per. So that's a total of 80 cards. And the first level is like a grass level, and it's pretty easy. It's nice. There is one big tricky part there, which I want to get to this in just 1 second. I'm putting that aside. Once you beat that, there's a fire world. There's an ice world. What the fuck is the 4th one? How am I drawing a blank on the 4th one? Fuck. What was it? The green garden. Oh yeah, the one full of water was the other one. Yeah. So I didn't find the green like grass world all that difficult. I didn't find the blue water world all that difficult. But the fucking fire world and the ice world, even the ice world wasn't too bad. There's a lot of mountains you need to climb in the 2 levels, and there's like one really cool part where you have to go up and set off a bomb to trigger an avalanche, and then run away from the avalanche, let it all come down. Then you can go up that mountain. The only tricky thing about the ice world is you can fall off, like you're up on top of a mountain. So if you walk off an edge, like there are no, you know how a lot of games have like invisible walls near a cliff so that you can't just walk off the cliff and fall to your doom. This game, there are no invisible walls. It is incredibly simple. If you walk off an edge, they're just like, well, fuck you. There goes a life. Try again. And that's where you can so easily lose your last life after you've grinded out the 30 cards and have to fucking start over. The ice world can be a little bit tricky because you're trying to climb mountains, and sometimes there's like big snowstorms that are blowing you around that you need to run into to keep them from blowing you off the edges and stuff like that. But I didn't find it half as difficult as the fire world. That fucking volcano, that fucking fire world. There are so many instances where you either need to run on minecart tracks that are only about 2 characters wide, like 2 Bombermans wide, or you have to run on like ledges that are just like 1 Bomberman wide, literally like the width of Bomberman, and they're very precise. And as I'm sure you're aware, that Nintendo 64 analog, not the most precise. It's so, maybe I just suck. And this is not me being like, if you're new to the podcast, this isn't a 41-year-old man playing Nintendo 64 for the first time being like, I'm not very good at this controller. I've had one of these things practically since launch. I got one as a kid, and I detest this fucking controller. And it's not quite so bad in like a Mario 64 or an Ocarina of Time where you're running around in a big open world. Even in Bomberman, like in the first couple worlds where you can't really fall off a cliff, it's not too bad. But when you're trying to navigate these fucking narrow paths that are shaped like fucking S's, and you need to like go up, then to the right, then down, then diagonal, and they're just as wide as you. So if you push that analog stick in any direction aside from the direction you need to go, you're gonna fall. It is so fucking easy to accidentally drift a little bit too far into a different direction on that analog stick and walk off the wrong way, and there is no time to fucking correct. You're just fucked. I died in that fire world so many times walking off those fucking edges, especially when you're trying to beat the clock and get to the end of the exit before that stupid timer runs out. And it was just so infuriating because it wasn't too bad if I just barely pushed the analog and did that like crawling walk, because you almost did have time to autocorrect if you were fast enough once you started to move in a different direction. But the further you push that analog stick away from the center and the faster you go, the easier it is to accidentally push it in just a little bit off center. And then instead of going up, you're going diagonally up to the left, and that's all it's going to take to walk off a platform that's as wide as you, and then you fall down and you die, and then all 30 fucking enemies you killed reset to 0. You have to do it all again. Oh my god. I hate that fucking controller so much. So those last 2 worlds gave me trouble. And then once you get through the ice world and the fire world to go with the water world and the grass world, then you go to this world that's like a city. And I'll be straight up with y'all. Like, I tried for over an hour to beat world 1, couldn't do it, and just was like, I'm out of time. I don't care. I don't need to see the end of this game to review it, because most people just remember for the multiplayer anyways. But the 5th world is like a city. And in the first level, there's traffic coming at you. As you basically have to go from the bottom of the screen up toward the top, and there's traffic coming at you in different lanes of this highway, and you constantly need to find paths to go to like these transparent crosswalks above the traffic where there are enemies, get past them, fall down into the next area, and then find on the left or the right of all the like 6 lanes of traffic where the next path up to the next crosswalk is to keep going. But whenever you're down in the traffic, those cars are coming at you so fast. And buddy, sometimes when you get near the top of the screen, because all you have to do is get into the tunnel at the top of the screen and then it'll load the next area, you'll be like 2 inches from that fucking tunnel, and then a car will appear in the lane you're in, and you can't move fast enough to get out of the way, and you can't use bombs to fight them, and then it'll run you over. I died so many times. The idea of trying to kill 30 enemies in that fucking level and get to the end without breaking my fucking controller when I get run over for the 3rd time. God that was where I gave up. I was like, no, I probably could beat it if I put enough time into it, but I was like, I'm done. I have enough to review this. I'm not even enjoying myself anymore. Those last 2 worlds and then that fucking street world were just aggravating. And that's my number one criticism of the adventure mode is, again, it's hard because maybe back in 1997, I didn't find that control. Like, I used to think GoldenEye was super responsive and easy to play. And now when I try to play GoldenEye, it's like I'm trying to play it with 2 left hands and my eyes closed. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So maybe I'm just out of shape and I just can't use that controller as precisely as I used to be able to. But holy fuck, man. I found it so aggravating with that fucking controller. And then here's the other problem with the adventure mode. And then we'll take a break and then we'll move into multiplayer. There's the other problem with the adventure mode. And this is how I knew that serious guy that was helping you was going to fucking turn on you someday, because he does. And I fucking knew it. So in the first level, he pops up all over the place and he's teaching you tips. And one of the things he teaches you is that you can build like a bomb bridge. And you basically need the detonator to do it, because if you don't have a detonator, when you throw your bombs, after about 3 seconds, they explode. But if you have a detonator, you can leave a bomb sitting there for 20 minutes and it won't explode until you hit the Z button on the back of the controller. And so there's like a ledge you need to get up to, but Bomberman can't jump and there are no ladders or anything to climb. So what you need to do is like puff up a bomb to the size of a beach ball, throw it, then puff up another bomb the size of a beach ball, throw it on top of that one so it'll keep, and then once a bomb lands on another bomb, it just keeps bouncing. Then you need to blow up a bomb and put a little bomb on top. Then you need to blow up a bomb. Then you need to put a little bomb there. Then you go to the, like, all in a line. Then go beside them, walk off the edge onto the little bomb, and Bomberman will bounce. So he bounce off the little one, onto the big one with the little one on top, onto the big one with the big one on top, up onto the ledge. And he kind of teaches you that, but I gotta be honest, like, I don't remember figuring that out as a kid, and I had to look up how to get up there. And this is in level 1. He does teach you about bomb bridges, but I still couldn't figure out how the fuck to get up there. And it was so aggravating to me trying to figure this out. And then in the very first level, if you want to get all the golden cards, there's this fucking part. Once you bump up to this teleporter in the very first level of the fucking game in the grass world, you bump up to this teleporter, and then it takes you to this world where there's like how do I explain it? It's like so it's made of rock, and picture it's like an L. So you've got like a long platform coming down the right side of the screen and a long platform along the bottom of the screen, okay? Then on the left side of the screen, it's just like a dead end, like it's just a wall. And then at the top of the screen, there are 3 pillars under a steel grate, and you need to blow up those 3 pillars to make the steel grate fall to the platform below it so that you can go up there, drop down to that platform, and get the collectible that's down there. And to blow up those 3 pillars, there's these 9 pillars in the center of the screen, in between all these platforms I just told you about, that you need to throw bombs onto and then bounce them off each other across the 3 pillars to get in there. And it took me an hour. Like, I'm ashamed of how long it took me to figure out how to get those bombs in there. And the game, like, warns you will have to solve some puzzles with bombs and stuff to figure out, how to advance certain things. And I'll tell you right now, maybe in the 5th world there is. I did not find another puzzle half as complex as the one in World 1 when it came to bouncing these bombs. And I just found it very odd that, like, most games ratchet it up. First level, we're just going to teach you how to walk. Then we'll teach you how to walk and run. Then we'll teach you how to walk, run, and jump. Now you need to run and jump. Now you need to run and jump while you hold the fucking fire button or whatever the fuck. And this one just right away just throws you into the deep end, and they're like, hey, figure it out or fuck you. And it just absolutely made me insane. Oh my fucking God. And then this is, okay, and you may be wondering, Adam, when the fuck are you going to explain to us how you knew Sirius was going to turn? Here it is. That guy pops up all through the first world teaching you tricks. Hey, if you drop a bomb and then hit A again, you can kick the bomb away. Hey, use the R trigger, or the shoulder button, the R, and that'll stop a bomb while it's in the middle of floating away so you can lock it in somewhere. Hey, use the Z trigger when you have a detonator to blow it up. Hey, build a bomb bridge and jump across the bomb bridge to get to a platform you couldn't reach before. Hey, if you drop a bomb, then you go up to it and hit B, you'll pick the bomb up. Then you can pump it up to the size of a beach ball and throw it, and then it'll explode better. That I found so hard to do. Okay, like you put a bomb down with A, and if you don't have the detonator, you have about 3 seconds to pick that bomb up before it explodes and kills you. So you put a bomb down with A, then you walk up to it, and you want to pick it up to puff it up big to make a bigger explosion. But to pick it up, you need to push B right beside it. But if you walk up to it, you get too close, you'll just kick it away. And it can be so touchy to get close enough to a bomb to be able to hit the B button to pick it up without kicking it away from you. And if you've played it recently, you know what I'm fucking talking about. So I go through 2 worlds trying to pick these fucking bombs up to puff them up and struggling with it, especially against bosses where I need puffed up bombs and I can't pick them up to fucking puff them up to use them. And it's making me crazy. And then in the third world of the game, not the third level of the first world, but the third world, that piece of shit Sirius, who's been saying he's there to help you the whole time, goes, hey, by the way, if you hold B before you press A to place a bomb on the ground, you'll just start out holding it. And it's much easier than walking up to one you've placed on the ground and hitting B to pick it up. And I tried it, and he's right. If you just hold B and then roll your thumb down and press A, instead of dropping a bomb on the ground and then having to pick it up to puff it up, it's just in your hands. You can just puff it up and throw it. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell the rest of us? Why did you keep it a secret? Why the fuck didn't you tell me that 5 hours ago when I was fighting bosses and trying to build bridges? And maybe it said in the instructions. I did flip through the instruction manual, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere. And maybe it just, oh my God. If you've played it recently, tell me I'm not the only one. I was so mad. I was like, what the fuck? It's like you forgot to put that in the world 1. And then by the third world, you realize like, oh fuck, we forgot to tell the player about this. So let's walk it fucking back. God damn it. It would have made my life so much easier in those first 2 worlds. And maybe I just forgot. I don't fucking know. But that's how I do. I was like, if this piece of shit held that secret back for as long as he fucking did, he fucking knew goddamn well what was going to happen to me. I hate him. Anyway, so I 100%ed the grass world, the water world, the fire world, the snow world. And then I got to that traffic world, and I was just in over my head. And I was just running out of time. I'm trying to play as many games as I can for the show. One thing I'm trying to balance is like, I don't like to review a game without giving it a fair shot. But I also know like I don't have to finish a game to do an episode of this, right? Our earlier episodes that some people like better are ones where I haven't played the game in 20 years. So I don't remember everything. And so I finally just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I have put a lot of time into this. I want to get more games done to be able to review them on the show. Am I really going to get a better review out of this if I waste another 5 or 6 hours farting around with this traffic world trying to get all these stars? And I was like, no, you know what? So if you want to downvote the episode because of that, then go ahead. But I finally just threw in the towel. I wasn't like, I like Bomberman 64. I like Bomberman. I have good memories of this game. And I was like, the more time I spend with this, the angrier I'm getting and the less I'm enjoying this game. And I don't want to do that to Bomberman. So I'm just going to fucking throw in my towel and call it right here. Most of you are here for the multiplayer anyways. And I got to be honest, I saved it for the second half of the show. And I don't have as much to say about it as I do the adventure mode. But I do want to get into the multiplayer mode. So I'm gonna pause here and let a sponsor in peddle their wares to keep our bills on. And when we get back, we'll talk a little bit about the battle mode, which really is the heart of Bomberman 64.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
So the shitty thing is that I have no friends, as many of you know. And all jokes aside, I only have one Nintendo 64 controller. I only played it by myself. The cool thing is that you can play the battle mode against the computer. So I definitely fired it up and played through a few multiplayer matches with the computer. Not even remotely as fun as it was playing it with my friends. But it just took me back to 1997, 1998, playing this with my buddies. And the good times we had. As I've said, if you've ever played a Bomberman game, you're fully aware where these games really shine is playing them with your friends. The melee, blowing each other up, running around, the anarchy, forming alliances with each other, and then stabbing each other in the back is always where it's at. So many good times. And I think the battle mode in this, well, I do prefer, so like if you've never played one, the main difference I think is like in the 2D ones, it's basically left, right, up, and down. And when you place a bomb, the explosion isn't like a giant circle. The explosion goes out left, right, up, and down, like in columns from wherever that bomb is placed. And the more firepower pickups you've grabbed, the further out that bomb can explode. And dude, like for you guys that have been playing the old school Bomberman games, if you pick up enough of those firepower things, that explosion's taking up like 3/4 of the screen. And the only tricky thing about that is it is incredibly simple to trap yourself. into a corner with a bomb and realize you can't get out. You just blew yourself up, which happens in the anarchy and the fucking pandemonium that is running around in Bomberman. Whereas in Bomberman 64, when you place a bomb, instead of the explosions just going out left, right, up, and down like in columns, it's a circle. And so the more firepower you pick up, just the bigger circle it makes when you drop the bomb. And so that's why, like, I do slightly prefer the more organized chaos of 2D Bomberman, but the 3D Nintendo 64 Bomberman works so good. The number one thing I have to say about the multiplayer in this is the camera doesn't matter. Like, one of the reasons I struggled to get into the Nintendo 64 back in 96 when I got one was because I hated having to control the camera. It drove me crazy in Mario, drove me crazy in Zelda. I preferred the games like the wrestling games and stuff where I didn't have to worry about the camera. And in this one, when you're playing the single player mode, you can spin the camera around in 8 different directions. Little tip for those of you that struggle with I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the single player mode. If you're ever playing this and you're struggling to get through those like really narrow columns, you can spin the camera around behind you the whole time or in front of you or whatever the fuck. And then instead of trying to walk at a 45-degree angle at times, you can always just walk in a straight line, straight ahead, straight down. Makes things so much easier. So try that. But when you're playing multiplayer, it's just one static screen. There is no moving the camera around. And once you're not worrying about the camera and you're not super worried about walking off ledges and stuff, now the controller doesn't drive me half as crazy because it doesn't have to be as precise. I can go in any direction I want. You just run around and try to blow each other up. There's a whole bunch of stages that just range from like a basic field, like old school Bomberman. You can go on like a ship that's rocking left and right, and the bombs are actually moving around as it's rocking. There's ones with multiple layers where you're climbing above each other and below each other. My personal favorite is either the pyramid, where you can climb up to the top of the pyramid in the middle, or I can't remember what it's called. The greedy pool or the greed pool or something. And it's basically like you're playing like an old swimming pool. And there's like an outer ledge where you're higher up. And then as you get further down, in the middle of the pool is where all the blocks that need to be blown up to find power-ups are. But once you go down in there, the only way to get back up is to find your way to one of the few staircases. And while you're down in there, your opponents that are up above you could be lobbing bombs down there, kicking bombs down there, trapping you in. That's one of my favorites as well because it's so easy to get trapped down there, but it's the risk-reward thing because that's where all your power-ups as well. You can play it up to 4 players. You can turn players off if you want. If you only got 2 players, you can throw in 2 computer opponents as well, which is nice. You can set the computer AI from 1 to 2 to 3. 1, they're basically playing with their eyes closed, and it's really easy to win. 3 will actually, maybe it's just because I'm out of practice, but 3 will give you a little bit of a challenge, which is nice. But playing with your friends is really where it's at. 4-player is so much fun, and if each of you have your own controller with your own controller pack, when you're playing the adventure mode, that's where you can find all those customizable costumes, and then you can go into your controller pack and change your Bomberman's appearance. Like, that was one of the things we always used to do. And then you'd go in and just fuck around with your appearance and have these 4 awesome looking Bombermans running around blowing each other up. When you get into the battle mode, there's not a ton of modes. Unfortunately, that's one minor criticism, is that I wish the multiplayer had more modes to it. But the modes that are there are all that matters. The main one is just every man or woman for themselves, blow each other up. You can set it to how many wins you need to get to like take down the championship. I can't remember if you can set it to 3 or 5. Like anywhere, if it's 1 to 3 or 1 to 5, I don't remember. But you play a mode, and basically it's just the last Bomberman standing wins. Once you blow somebody up, then they get eliminated. We'll talk about the ghosting in a second because I fucking love the ghosting. But you basically just blow each other up. Once someone's blown up, they're eliminated. And the last Bomberman standing, after you play a match, then it goes to this like cool screen where it shows the 4 Bombermen standing there. And then beside them, it shows a medal for every round they've won. And you're just playing to, again, 1, 3, 5, whatever the fuck. And the first one to hit that score wins. So if you set it to like a higher number and you have 4 competent players, it can go for a long time. And then you can turn on ghost mode on or off because you don't just have to blow each other up to eliminate each other. But one of the things you can do is when someone gets hit by a bomb, like if I kick a bomb across the screen and it hits you, your character gets knocked down for a second and they're sitting on their ass with stars over their head. And you have to spin the analog stick to get yourself up. But I can walk over to you and pick you up and then walk over to the edge of the level and throw you off the level. And if I throw you off the level, you're eliminated. But again, that comes with the risk reward of me walking over toward a bomb I just kicked at you, which is going to explode at some point, and trying to get you picked up before it explodes and kills me. And then while I'm carrying you, you can still get down and all that kind of stuff. So that's another way you can eliminate each other. And one of the modes you can turn on is ghost mode. And when you turn on ghost mode, Once you're eliminated, you come back as a ghost, and then you can still pick up. You can't throw bombs anymore, I don't think, but you can still pick up the other players and throw them out. So that's where alliances come into play. If somebody, because like that's part of the fun. Let's just say you're playing to 3 and player 1 is at 2 wins and everybody else is at 1 win. Then the strategy is obviously, hey, let's get them, like, get them, fellas. And everybody teams up on the guy with 2. But then it's so easy to stab someone in the back and kick them a bomb at them, knock them down, pick them up and throw them out, even though you're supposed to be working together to stop the one who only needs one more victory to win. So the anarchy of that, and then when the ghosts come in and start fucking with everybody as well, oh my God. So much fun. Oh my God. And then you also set this timer and tell it how much time you should have in the game. And the timer starts counting down. And when the timer gets to 1 minute, then it drops you. It goes, hurry up. And then like sudden death starts. And once sudden death starts, then it gets even more anarchy because then it's got like fucking bombs are like falling from just everything's just exploding everywhere and shit's going crazy and it's trying to kill you and it's trying to get rid of you. Bombs go off faster. You get knocked down longer. You move slower. And it gets so, buddy, if you have never played a game of Bomberman 64 where say you're playing to 3 wins and all 4 players have 2 and now it's just like, it's one game for all the marbles, it is the most intense, and you don't have to worry about screen watching because unlike games like Mario Kart and GoldenEye, it's all on one screen. There is no split screen. It's one static screen where you can see all 4 players all at once, so you can start to strategize that way. When do you risk going for an item or a power-up to make your weapons more powerful? When do you kind of stand back and play defense and hide from your opponents and try to let them kill each other? Oh my fucking God. It is so much fun. It's fine with the computer, but it's at its best when you play it with 3 friends. And just crank up I can't remember how many rounds you can play. I want to say it's 5. Crank up the rounds to the maximum number of rounds so that the game goes as long as possible. And just, I know you can hear it. Like, I know you can hear it in my voice. It is just so much fun. Oh my fucking God. I love the multiplayer with my friends so much. And then the other, so like that's the only problem is that's one mode is just blow each other up. First one to get to the target number of wins. The other mode is team battle. And so if you go into team battle, then you have the white, black, red, and blue Bombermen, and you can move them around and decide, like, are we going 1v3 or are we going 2v2? Who's on what team? And then when the game starts, one team is represented by red gems and one team is represented by blue gems. And the red and blue gems just appear in random places on the battle map. And what you need to do is destroy the other team's gems. And so then it becomes a race to get to their gems and destroy 5 of them before they destroy 5 of yours, while also trying to stop them from destroying your gems. And I like it. It sucks with the computer. Like I played a few of them with the computer to get ready for this episode. Not half as fun as it is to do like with your buddies. That's one where you need 4 players or at least 2 against 2 computer. You need allies to talk strategy and stuff. It's a cool concept, but it only really works with other players. Whereas like the free-for-all blow each other up mode can really work even with the computer, especially once you've had enough of that fucking adventure mode and that fucking analog stick just fucking you over so goddamn hard. So many memories, man. Like we would literally, like if you'll all just indulge old man Blank here for a moment, gather around the lemon tree. Well, my disdain for the Nintendo 64 is almost 30 years strong. I have warmed up to it a little bit from a nostalgic standpoint. I still, outside of pro wrestling, I still don't think I have like a favorite. Like I love the wrestling games. GoldenEye and stuff is good memories. Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, while I may not personally adore those games, are as revolutionary as gaming gets. It's undeniable. Like those are huge fucking titles. I have great memories of the sports games, the Mario parties, the Mario Karts, all that kind of stuff as well. I really have grown nostalgic for the 64 despite not loving the actual system. I don't like the controller, but there's also a charm to playing a game with that controller. A lot of you wrote in when I was complaining about the controller and recommended the Brawler, which is this redesigned Nintendo 64 controller that kind of looks almost like an Xbox controller. It looks awesome. I have to say, like, it looks fantastic. When I'm reviewing a game for the show, whenever humanly possible, I really like to try to stick to OG hardware. I just think it makes for a more authentic review. I wish that controller had existed 20 years ago because I probably would have bought one. But trying to use it now, I'm like, I almost feel like I'd be cheating myself out of the real experience, you know? Yeah, well, the Nintendo 64 drives me crazy. The memories I have tied to it. Like the NES obviously was my childhood. The Super Nintendo is my favorite system. But the Nintendo 64 was like, I was in, like, that was like, that's why I started to like girls. You know what I mean? Like I was 12 when the Nintendo 64 came out. Like that's when I was really getting into girls, and my friends and I would get together and just play all night and play all weekend. And like, oh man, and I had like 4 or 5 different groups of friends that I would play Nintendo 64 with. And we'd all play different games. Like I had one group of friends where all we played was GoldenEye and Bomberman. And I had another group of friends where all we played was Mario Party. And that was the one, I used to play that with a couple of girls I liked. And being the fool I am, I would never let them win, even though I probably should have. But I was like, I'll impress them more by beating them. Yes. Which is why, no, never mind. I was going to talk about my virginity, but I don't need to hear that. And then I had another group of friends where like, yeah, all we played was like fucking Mario Kart. And like, it's just like, I had like 4 or 5 different groups of friends, and I wouldn't trade my memories of playing Nintendo 64 with my friends for anything. Even GameCube. Like I had some great memories of playing GameCube, playing the Mario sports games and Mario Kart and stuff with people as well, getting drunk. We used to go rent games and go play them. But the Nintendo 64 is just maybe my least favorite retro console, but my favorite memories of any retro console. I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. And Bomberman 64 is in that class. And I feel like with the Bomberman 64 episode now in the bank, basically all of my favorite multiplayer memories have been covered from the Nintendo 64. And, oh man, what a simpler times. I miss those. Like this, I saw a tweet the other day that said, you just woke up and it's 1997. Everything was a bad dream. And it's like a living room with the brown floral pattern couch and the big fat screen television. And there's a Nintendo 64 sitting there with Mario 64 on it and everything, and a Blockbuster case on the floor. And I just was like, man, what I wouldn't give to just go back to that for like a week. And just no responsibilities, no stress in the world. Just playing Nintendo 64 with my friends. And Bomberman 64 is just right there. The single player mode I could take or leave, but the multiplayer, as simple as it was just flawless and just the best possible time. If you are a retro game collector, I don't know if you're like, yo, is Bomberman 64 worth adding to your collection? It's not overly expensive. I think it's about 40 Canadian, probably about 30 US to pick a copy up. I think Bomberman Hero is more, I've never played that one. That's the second one. I think that one's worth more. I've only ever played the first one. If you're wondering if it's worth adding to your collection, I would say only if you've got nostalgic ties to it, if you're a completionist, or if you have people to play multiplayer with, yes. If you have kids or roommates or a spouse or whatever, someone you could play the multiplayer with, it is beyond worth adding to your collection. If you're just buying it as someone that didn't grow up with it for the single player, I don't really know. I think you're going to get sick of the adventure mode. I did. And the battle mode is only fun for about 20 minutes by yourself. And then it's not the same without the trash talk and the dude, let's get that guy, and then stabbing each other in the back. And oh man, so many good memories. If I had to score Bomberman 64, I'll score it out of 64. If it was just the single player game, I'd probably give it about a 40 out of 64, like a 6 out of 10. If I was scoring just the multiplayer, I'd probably get up around the 50 to 55. So I'll give it a 52. What does that work out to? 52 out of 64. That works out to an 8.1. That sounds about right. It's very fun. I feel like and what's crazy is, it feels weird to say this about Bomberman, but I feel like it's almost a hidden gem in the Nintendo 64 collection. Because when people think of the Nintendo 64, they think of the Marios and the Zeldas and the Mario parties and the Mario Karts and the GoldenEyes and the wrestling games. And I feel like this is one of those ones that kind of slides under the radar a little bit. So don't sleep on it. Because God knows it's probably never going to get fucking re-released again. I don't know why. Why do they hate Bomberman? We got that Super Bomberman R Battle Royale game that had so much potential and was just shit because it took way too long to load and it was no fun and could never find a game. Why are we getting new Bomberman games? Let's go. Come on, let's fucking go, Hudson. Make us some fucking Bomberman games, please. And while you're at it, make a new Super Adventure Island. Oh, are they dead? Oh, Konami owns them. I did not know that. Wow. All right, well then come on, Konami. Pieces of shit. Give us some Bomberman. I didn't realize Konami owned Hudson. I learned something today. Give us some new Bomberman and give us a new Super Adventure Island, please. I'd appreciate both of those. That'll do it. I hope this was okay. I never know when I do these ones alone because I'm a rambling idiot, hence the show. So I hope I was able to make this episode listenable for all of you. I'm going to queue up some more Bomberman 64 music and then thank some patrons and sign off and enjoy my Canada Day. So we'll be right back. That is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you, everybody. You know what? I'm not going to thank me, and I'm not going to thank my imaginary guest. I will thank Bomberman for being a beauty. Love that guy. But thank you for listening to this show, for real, because this is the last episode that's going to go live before this little train wreck turns 7 years old. The longest I ever held a job outside of stand-up comedy was 6 years. I was at one company. I always got bored of my jobs and moved on. Mostly it was like 3 or 4, and then I was like, I got to do something else. Comedy I did for about 9, and now I've been doing this show for 7 years. And as I said 339 episodes ago, no one's going to listen to this anyways, and it turned out that wasn't the case. And that's because all of you decided to roll the dice on this one when there's so many retro gaming podcasts out there. And I really can't even tell you how grateful I am. I appreciate the support so much. I appreciate your patience whenever I've had to take a break or I burned out. I don't appreciate those of you that write in telling me I'm a piece of shit and to kill myself because I don't like the games you like, but you're not getting thanked anyways. You can all get AIDS and go fuck yourselves. But to every single one of you out there that even tolerate my show, thank you. And if you support us on the Patreon or anything, from the bottom of my heart, you've changed my life. I can never, ever express how grateful I am to all of you for getting us to 7 years. And we're not going anywhere. I don't know when this show will end. I do kind of have a dream of getting to 500 episodes and getting to year 10 at least. And then who knows? There's a chance I'll do this until I retire. I would do this until I retire. You know, maybe someday I'll get bored of it and I'll want to do something else, but I'm not bored of it yet. And I have some big plans for episodes, not just this summer, but in the new year. Some of the episodes we're planning to cover between now and the end of the summer months. And these are all obviously subject to change, so please don't yell at me if they don't happen. But Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver is definitely coming down the pipe because that won a Patreon poll, as did Fire Emblem, the first Fire Emblem for the GBA. So that one's coming as well. Bradley McHugh and I are talking about covering Time Splitters this summer. We've got an episode on Kirby's Dream Land 2 in the works. Mutant League Football could be getting some love. Like I said, in the next 2 weeks, the hope and the plan is to cover Mario 3D Land and Crazy Taxi. We'll see what order that goes in. Toe Jam and Earl 2 is going to get on the show. I want to cover another wrestling game. It's been a while, and I'm looking at WCW Mayhem on my shelf and thinking that would be fun because that game fucking sucks. And, I mean, there's so many, like, my backlog is so long, you guys. There's so many games I want to get to. BioShock 2 is one that's been standing out to me. I know we still need to cover some more Mario games like Mario Galaxy and stuff like that. It's just, I want to get to Shining Force 2 eventually. I want to cover some more Final Fantasies. We're not going anywhere. And of course, episode 350 is just a few months away. And if I got enough time, we're at episode 339 right now. I do occasionally skip a Wednesday to give me more time to play. So that's 11 episodes plus, say, a skipped week or two. I got 12 or 13 weeks. Is that enough time for me to play GTA 5? Because that's the plan for episode 350, and I've never even turned it on. I bought it the other day on my Xbox, but I haven't even turned it on yet. So I'm going to have to get through GTA 5. So that'll be a big one as well. So thanks again, everybody. Leave us a nice review if you like the show. I read them. Boy, they warm my heart. Come follow us in the old Remember the Game subreddit. There's over 1,100 of you over there now, which is crazy. And of course, I got to put it out there. For $3 a month on our Patreon, just Remember the Game ad-free with timestamps is great. Every episode, I went back through every old episode, found all the timestamps for every segment, dropped all the ads. You're in there, you're aces, new ones every week. Plus, like I said, the Purple Monkey Dishwasher every Monday where Mark McHugh and I talk The Simpsons. Gaming news every Tuesday on Game Patch. Different video game episodes every week on Thursday with Expansion Pass. My Mario Kart World episode is going this week. And The Rambling Idiot every Friday where I talk about whatever the fuck I feel like talking about. plus our Discord access and so much more, okay? I am going to thank some of those very patrons right now and get out of here because while I'm recording this, it is 11 a.m. on Tuesday, July 1st. It is, in fact, Canada Day. I'm going to get this editing, and then I'm going out to play one of my 2 rounds of golf a year with Shaylee because I hate that fucking game. But it's really nice outside, and she thinks we need to get out and get some sun, and I kind of agree with her. It feels like a good day to crush a beer and yell at some balls. So that's what I'm going to do. Thank you all so much for listening. Happy Canada Day. Happy 4th of July to all you Yankee bastards, because I know that's coming up later this week. And I don't know. I can't think of anything else. But appreciate all of you. Thanks for the support. Next week, Crazy Taxi or Mario 3D Land. Cheers. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame. And as such, I am contractually obligated to say your names as quickly as possible. So we're going to go in order from newest to oldest this week. A huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer, Slick Motherfucking Rick, Tyler Patchell, Raging Randy, Siegfried, Landon Turquoise, The Okayest of Muffins, Frank Preeves, Profound, Spooky Dookie, Just James, Exotic Chaotic, Trooper Galactus, Devin Collins, Shane's World, Mike Hag, Botfucker, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Game Boy Gannon, Jeff Leopard, Horrorstalgia, a podcast, Akira's Network, Jinxie425, Legendberry, Thunder Leaps, Topher Love, Doogie Bowser MD, Captain Asbury Juice, Flater Flav, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, The Grim Patron, Savage Boosh, Super Saiyan, Safarioth, Dazer8th, Wrecked Ralphie, Comebread, Ryan Stemmerding, Captain Steve N, Super Jess, VOS Rager, Wilco McCracken, Justin Blair, Diablo Spartan, Monkal, David Schroeder, Gannon's Magnum Dong, Generic Name 238, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, Spider Cat, Alex McIntyre, Scotty McGee, Toby OP, Thrill Ho, Daddy's Secret Little Chubby, Justin Tate, Ryan Whitcomb, Ida Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Chaz Hammond, Putterton Edge, Kevin Kellums, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Too Much Karma, Matt Zeus, Bula, Blobby, Brian Richmond, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Shoeboxers, Mark Sneed, E-Man Trucker, You Son of a Bitch, why? Tell me why. The Supreme, Chozo Rizu, Fallen Snow Kiku, Penguin Milk, B Money, Chris Hill isn't scared, that could be anyone's ass, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Benjamin Atkins, Faded Suffering, Sour Goat Face, Max Sandin, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Starbucks, Pool Cleaner, Marcus Mendoza, Infinity Rage, Because 19, Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Leroy Jenkins, Nordak, Pee-wee Squitters, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, Ryan 4664, The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Nick Creature, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Bartman Forever, Zombie XE, Just Car Prank, Scotty J, please refrain from tasting the knob, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Works for Me, AB Kellen, Monstrous D Boner, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Bowser Jr., Ruined Bowser's Fury, agreed, T-Bear 87, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Sabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Wimp of Stupid Stooges, TTRPG, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Hids Meals, Isaiah, Squeaknut, Sleeper Hit, Donnie the Dude Walter, Sam Carpenter, Drugs Bed, okay, Mr. Arkansas, John of the Adult Children Podcast, James Francesco, Max Lagroom, I use small words to help Adam say it more good, General Fury, Cody Richardson, Oroku Saki's Gardner, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hegel Waffle, Earl, Archangel Otaku, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Wyatt the Surgeon who's not a surgeon, Roe, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy 99, Gabe, Matt Babineau, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westrich, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Growly Wog, Laces Out Dan, Jake Carter, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler Juris, Dr. Mario, Mizuru, Dude Where's My Game, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dulks, Jameer Williams, DBXJ, Madam Nutsitch, It's That Nerd James, Elijah Burns, Chugger 22, Triple 3, Captain Black Silver, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Grease Me Up Woman, Just a Fish, Randy Barrage, John Woodruff, Daniel, Jeff Bergeron, Zonko 504, Titan 420, Dean Donian, Squints, Johnny from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869, G9 PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Dane Donovan, Morgan, A-Town, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Little Buddy Fufu 89, Eldest Millennial, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Dan, Dissect That Film, Jort King Keegs, Jane Nasty 15, Sharonic, and Makes Your Mellow Magic Buddy. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good fucking batch of shout-outs, son. That's what happens when I drink coffee when I record. I'm in the fucking zone. Eases the pain. Happy Canada Day, everybody. Thanks so much for 7 years of support. Talk to you later. Cheers.